Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. Okay, let's pull two cards. Hashtag one, hashtag two. All right, hashtag one. Ooh, card number 27. Two is the number of guidance, seven is the number of completion. You're being guided to a space of completion. Third house messages. You must stay drunk on writing so reality cannot destroy you. Words have power. Now's the time to get your point across. With this card, you may also get a clearer direction in the way to proceed. The third house also represents neighborhoods and siblings. Ooh, so for those who chose hashtag one, there is a potentiality. The whole thing about the siblings, this might be a soul sibling. You know what that means. Third house is the area of the astrological chart that reveals how we think, speak, and communicate. It signifies our need to know and demonstrate how we put our concepts and thoughts into words. You are in search of answers and in need of unlocking mysteries, but your mind is agile and you're able to grasp every detail right now. So, for those who chose hashtag one, I think you need to rewatch this so that you can get the full details of what your soul is really needing you to know. You may wish to express this mental suppleness through writing, speaking, and researching subject matter, which has always intrigued you. Libraries call to you. You may suddenly wake up with an idea that could turn out to be very lucrative. You may even be toying with the idea of writing a book, starting a blog, perhaps a screenplay, or a position at a local news media outlet. There wouldn't be a better time than now. As well as dreamy or imaginative writing and poetry, the third house also represents dexterity, swiftness, curiosity, and figuring out the mechanisms of what makes things work. You need to figure out whoever this person is for you, you need to figure out their intentions before you truly commit to your final decision. So, this could mean expressing yourself about something rather technical. The third house, more than any other house, is a house of the mind. Mercury is about giving and receiving information. When this card turns up in a reading, there's a need to uncover all that you can and relate the information to others. Ooh, wee. You know what you need. For those who chose hashtag one, you know what you need. You need a Scorpio friend, a Scorpio or a Taurus. Now, I don't know, I'm astro illiterate, right? But I do watch people and I see those who are Scorpio, especially the gals, and Taurus, especially the gals. Scorpio and Taurus, they find out all the details. I'm saying you need a friend, a good, trusted friend who has either Scorpio or Taurus in their chart, preferably the moon. I say the moon because that's the hidden part of you. So people won't even realize that they have this super spy capability. I'm telling you. Mhm. They be finding out all kind of information, all sorts of information. So let's see what else it says. Um, an area of commerce and sales. When the third house card presents itself in a reading, it can indicate a time of buying and selling and being involved in retail or transactions made over the internet. You got to be careful. There is, so transactions made over the internet, right? Some relationships are intended to be transactional by the people who are trying to initiate them with us. No, do not allow that. Do not allow that. This is a time where you need to back up. This is a time where you need to just not be involved in things that don't need to involve you. There are certain things that do need to involve you. There are other things where you're already being told repeatedly, do not get involved, do not get involved, do not get involved. So be careful. Issues dealing with siblings may come up. I'm telling you the whole twin flame thing. Yep. There may be questions you must resolve to do with brothers or sisters. Your neighborhood may even be going through some changes. This card signifies your neighborhood, so expect events that will make a difference there. It may also indicate secretive actions carried out at night, perhaps meetings or even some criminal activities. Look for noise and radical changes you may not be so happy with. It could also mean that there's an area where you, an area may start to appear old or decrepit. Um, hmm. Is that part of like a part of your mindset is outdated and it needs to be allowed to come forward and be updated? Be careful how you put your thoughts and feelings into words. Other persons may not be as warm and receptive to your words and ideas as you hope them to be. So just because you're, willing to interact with whoever this is for you, doesn't mean they'll be willing to interact with you. And just because they're willing to interact with you, doesn't mean you automatically have to be willing to interact with them. You need to make your own choices. Whatever those choices are, it has to be from you. This card can also mean you'll be talking your way into and out of tough situations. You will be mentally able to grapple with issues and sort them out well. Important documents and other paperwork are indicated. This isn't your everyday type of paper shuffling. The matter will be more significant than the usual. This is tying into Paladorian contracts. See, when I say a soul connection, this is probably a person who you have a Paladorian contract with. You probably have an existing agreement where your paths will cross at specific points in both your lives in order to push certain types of learning forward. This card also indicates a fortunate time to start a business of your own. Oh, you know what? Now is the perfect time for people to begin considering a soul based business. Soul based business is something that once you get it started, it basically runs itself. The type of passion that you experience, the type of inspiration and excitement, it just continues and continues and continues. And then next thing you know, it's fully established, it's sustainable, and it's your sole source of income. And sometimes when it's perfectly aligned, the type of abundance that shoots through. My soul based business mentorship is where I help you connect to the details of what your soul wants you to do. The soul based business mentorship, it's something that it's really helped people who are truly ready. One of my most favorite things to share from the soul based business was someone near and dear to me who came to me for some soul based business guidance. This was before I was offering this type of session. And there were certain options presented to them, and they were going to choose an option that would lead them right back to the same cycles, the same stagnation. And you know what they did? Because I pointed it out, like, are you choosing that from a space of fear? I mean, you're free to choose whatever you want, but this is one thing, this is another thing, and you need to know why you're choosing it. And they made their decisions on their own. Fast forward a few months, and they were just finally inserting themselves um, into this industry as a professional, right? They're ridiculously intelligent. Um, Fast forward a few months, they're featured in Forbes. So proud of them. They're featured in Forbes. They made it happen. They're still in that industry, and this happened during COVID when everything was shutting down and businesses were, you know, ending and all of that. This happened during COVID. And they're still doing the work they do. They're damn good at the work they do. Damn good at the work that they do. They can produce results like crazy. It's up to you what you're going to choose for those who chose one. If you're going to be faced with a fork in the road, right? You're at a fork in the road. You don't know if you should choose the left path, the right path. First and foremost, are your decisions being chosen based on the information at hand? Are you factoring all the details that need to be factored in? Or are you simply in a reactive state, choosing something that's been perpetuating the very cycles that you're trying to exit? Because if you're choosing the same things, why are you going to expect something different? Are you happy with your life? Because if you're happy with your life, choose the same things. Some people are, it's rare, but some people are happy with where they're at. They don't want anything else. Or are you telling yourself that you don't want anything else because you've been convinced by someone else that if you want something else, then you're just ungrateful? I tell you, I live with such a grateful heart for everything, but I know this is not the only place I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to continue to grow and expand and elevate, deepen and ripen, all of that in all directions across every aspect of my life. You can be both. You can have a grateful heart and realize that the reason you feel dissatisfied with where you're at is because you're aware to some degree that there's somewhere else you also need to be. And everything you're going through right now is helping you to realize where that something else is, what that something else is, and for some, who that something else is, right? Don't be scared about making decisions. Be scared about not growing. That's much scarier. All right, for those who chose #2, Yod, destiny. A person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it. Oh, Lordy Lord. A person often meets their destiny on the road they took to avoid it. No matter what, you're going to fulfill your destiny. You can either learn the hard way, which often includes elevations in potentiality because you're putting in more work, or you can do it the easy way. It don't matter. You're still going to do it. Your soul doesn't need your consent. It doesn't. It doesn't need your consent. It has decided certain things for you while leaving open opportunities to choose the options that help to cultivate your sense of personal power. But free will extends to the soul, not to the human. That's a lot of people are confused on that. Free will extends to the soul, not to the human. You can look at your soul as though it is your parent and you are still a toddler. As a toddler, you don't want to sleep, but you're out of control. It's nap time. You're cranky. Your emotions are far too big for your little ass body. You don't have the emotional experience and intelligence yet. You don't have that maturity to be able to recognize what your needs actually are. So then what happens? The parent has to guide you into a space of accepting that right now, this is what you need. One of my kids who used to struggle with self regulation, he used to really struggle with self regulation. I remember he's like 2 years old and he is like an energizer bunny. He go go. Like holy shit, bro, my brain. Yeah, he was just a bundle of energy, chaotic energy at that. It's powerful energy. But if you can't control, harness your chaos, it becomes detrimental for most people. It becomes very detrimental. So I recognize that, because stay at home mom, right? And I hella pay attention to the kids. I recognize that whenever he would get sleepy, he would start zipping around even more. He would move faster. He would speak frantically, just very excitedly, but I knew it was frantic energy. Most people would be like, oh my gosh, he's just so fun. He's just so, ah. And it's like, no, that's fucking frantic energy right there. He don't know how to harness it. He don't know how to channel it. He doesn't know how to release it. There's no release valve. And so I began letting him know, like, you know, first I would whisper, and kids are nosy. If your kid doesn't listen to you, don't yell. Look at them and whisper. When they notice that you're whispering, they're going to be like, what? Come here. I'll tell you. So that's what I would do to him. I would whisper. And then he would come to me and he would think it was a game and he'd be like, you see how your body feels right now? Yeah. That's your body telling you you're tired. No, I'm not tired. Okay. Do me a favor. Can you just lay your head down? I don't want to lay down. You don't have to lay down, but lay your head down. So he would lay there on the couch. He would stand up by the couch and lay his head on the couch. And I would tell him, we just need to give your mind a couple minutes, okay? So you're just going to put your head down on the couch. You can still stand up. Put your head on the couch and close your eyes for 3 minutes. I will tell you when 3 minutes is up. And I never lied to my kids, so my kids know I'm not lying to you. If I tell you I'm going to tell you in 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you when 3 minutes is up. It's not timeout. It's not timeout. It's not punishment. It's about listening to your body. That's what I would explain to him. You need to listen to your body. Your body's telling you something. I tell you, by the end of a minute, 90 seconds tops, this little boy is snoring. See, most of us don't realize what we are doing is avoiding the very thing that we need. We don't know ourselves. We don't know our energy. We don't know what our true needs are because we've had people telling us for how long that means this means that. No. One of the most powerful things I was able to do for him at that point in his growth was ask him to simply slow down and let your body talk to you. And it didn't take very long, a couple weeks, and he began to realize when he gets ramped up like that, his body is letting him know we are tired. We are tired. And that's actually a trauma response. He had emergency surgery as a newborn. He was only 3 days old. He had emergency surgery as a newborn. He almost died. And so when he gets into that space of being tired, when he was a toddler, he would then go into hyper overdrive. His body is like, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. So then he would get very frantic, but because he's hella cute, yeah, people would think like, oh, he's just really full of energy. No, his body's afraid it's shutting down. He's going into survival mode. But you can't tell that to a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old. You can't tell them that. They don't have the life experience to understand what that means. So instead of explaining it in that way, you say, slow down for a moment. Allow the information to catch up with the experience. Those who chose number 2, you need to slow down for a moment and allow the information, the awareness to catch up with the experience that you're having. No one knows what any of these things mean but you. I can take some very good guesses. I can. And sometimes my guesses are accurate. They're still just guesses. I can only read you based on your current mindset. And this is true for all psychic people, channelers, mediums, whatever they identify as. Something changes in you, the reading changes. There's been several times where I've done reading, in-depth reading for someone, and their mindset is calibrated a certain way. And so I'm giving them the trajectory of that mindset. And because I'm giving this information, and sometimes it's precognitive information, once they receive it, the dots start to appear and they're able to connect the dots. And because that's happening, then they're able to understand, oh, wow, I had this all wrong. Oh, wow, I need to choose something different. And then suddenly something shifts. The reading completely changes. It completely changes because now the trajectory has been altered. 1 degree of adjustment, if you go far enough down that line, it creates tremendous change. It takes you to a whole different place. You don't have to do a 180. You don't even have to do a 90. You don't even have to do a 45-degree change. Just 1 degree of shift. Your entire trajectory changes if you follow it further. If you follow it far down enough, it completely changes your entire life. If you don't know what these events mean, you need to slow down. You have to be patient with your process. You can't be rushing and trying to force and reading after reading after reading after reading after they're not going to give you the information. The information is inside you. And the more people you involve in an internal process, the more muddled things become. A person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it. So, my son, who I told you had self-regulation struggles as a toddler, I have self-regulation struggles sometimes. He's very much like me. We're very similar. People think that when I get very hyperactive, that it's just fun, it's this. No, my senses are overwhelmed. I'm overloaded. People think that, oh, Emmie loves to sing. She should be a singer. I can't sing. I'm stimming. I'm stimming. My brain is overwhelmed. So much information. I'm overwhelmed. And I need to purge and release in whatever way I can, which is often stimming, right? So for much of my life, I've been being told and shown a specific path that I'm supposed to be on. And I've done everything in my power to avoid it. Wouldn't you know? Everything that I did to avoid the very thing I needed to do was the very thing that led me to the place where I am right now. Exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. Little do you know, you're already halfway there. Halfway to what? I don't know. It's not for me to know. The ancients believed that Yod was an area of fate in the chart and not a particularly favorable one. Also called the eye of God or the finger of God, the Yod is a peculiar astrological configuration in a chart. It's a triangle formed by two planets 60 degrees apart, while both are 150 degrees from a third planet. This creates a thin pie-shaped aspect. The Yod configuration is linked to the Hebrew alphabet Yod or Yud and is the 10th letter of the alphabet. It has magical implications signifying the omnipresence of God and often denoting humility because the energy is locked in that triangular configuration, causing matters to be fated and often difficult, but not without their rewards. Ooh, fated matters, humility. I came across this video recently. Well, this is maybe the third time I've come across it, where the man talks about how you cannot be humble if you don't know your power. Fake humbleness. I'm wondering if those who chose number two, if you think that you're less than because you're misunderstanding your humility, your humbleness. You're misunderstanding the severity of your life is not evidence of your diminished value. It's not evidence of less than purpose. It's not evidence of you being punished. It's actually in real life experience of training, preparation, and cultivation of skills, mindset, maturity, preparing you for a very elevated purpose in life. And whoever this person is that's coming forward in this reading, they have some role to play in that. It might be one of adversity, it might be one of love, friendship, community, camaraderie. Who you don't know, none of us knows. Michael says, no, that's wrong. Okay, correct me, please. None of us knows but you. And the only reason you feel like you don't know is because you're afraid of what the answer actually means. I like that. That was good. That was good. This configuration is influential and implies that there is a disruptive force at work. So, for some of you, this is probably a person that irritates the shit out of you. That's okay. In a sense, this astrological placement of planets is somewhat in exile from the other planetary energies because they are not harmonious with each other and therefore cause tension. Yep. I think for some of you, it's like a twin thing. Bells make demons go away. I'm serious. Bells drive demons away. I'm joking. I'm joking. Michael goes, be aware of what you're implying. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Anyways, this can bring about feelings of intense stress and restriction. There can also be a sense of being different, feeling alone and out of step with others at times. A yod in a natal chart. Yod in a natal chart can even indicate being the black sheep of the family. For many of you in our community, you're the black sheep of the family. You already know this. That's why you resonate so deeply with this space, because we're a community of the black sheeps, right? Oh, that's so cute. We're a community of black sheeps. When the yod card presents itself in a reading, it means the situation may be chaotic or may soon turn that way. It will be hard to see any clear path because of this chaos, but it will be important to weather through it all. This is not always bad because it's a process of finding what works and what isn't functioning. And now will be the time to be scaling things down and weeding out what is unnecessary. So for some of you, um, for some of you who chose number two, you're going to see things ending, friendships and whatnot ending, maybe relationships, maybe work partnerships. I don't know. Let's see. But more than that, this card is about finding your own truth, even though the truth may not be reflected through others. Okay, so I think for some of you who chose number two, you're going to be faced with someone who is an externalized representation of an internal ethos that you've been carrying, an ethos, a mindset that is outdated and no longer supportive of your growth. So you're going to be faced with this person because it's time for you to see the way you function. It's time. It's time for you to see the way you function. Oh, so my brain is being brought back to a time where I did have an interaction with a twin who literally just like me, or very much alike. And it was this thing of being able to see the way I function in situations and seeing that I don't really like that. I don't really like that. For example, like I often will just disappear in a conversation. Squirrel brain. Um, we'll be communicating and then I'll just stop responding because something caught my attention, and then that's just it. I forget I'm talking to someone. And then sometimes there'll be times where I just disappear. Not so much now, but this was very heavily um, something I would do years ago, where I'm overwhelmed by social media because if I share something, then a lot of people will start commenting on it. This is before any Emmy evolving stuff. I would share something and people would like go bonkers on the post, and then that would overwhelm me, and so I would just completely deactivate my account. I wouldn't just log off, I would deactivate it. And then I had people who were like, "Oh my gosh, whenever you disappear like that, it makes me feel rejected. It makes me feel like an orphan." And I'm like, "What? You don't even know me though." Like we've chatted a few times. Why would I have that kind of effect on you? I don't understand. Well, because I filled a void that existed in their life before I arrived. My husband and I were talking about recently what I used to do on Facebook when I was only on Facebook. The first maybe 50, 60, sometimes 100 people in my chat messenger, because you know how the most recent message will be at the top. I'll write this message of just pure love and support. I used to call it a love bomb. And then I would personally send that to every single person in my chat box until my hands get tired. And so these people who are random strangers to me began seeing me as someone who fills a void for them. And when I suddenly disappear, it's devastating to them. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand until I saw it reflected outside of me. And I was like, oh, I wasn't devastated, but I was like, oh, okay. Is that what that is? Is that what? And I've had people explain this to me over the years, like, Emmie, your energy and your focus, your presence takes so much space in people's lives once they're introduced to you. And it's like you become basically like their mother. I mean, could you imagine what it feels like to have your mother block you on social media? And I was like, but I didn't block anyone because I still didn't understand. And he's like, but when you deactivate, that's what it feels like. You pull all your energy back and this huge void is left. And I was like, I didn't get it until I felt someone with the same gravity of energy. And then they pulled their energy back. And I was like, oh, is that what that is? Is that why people be freaking out? Because that's a lot of energy that displaces everything. There's a lot of energy, and it's not something that's done intentionally, right? I'm wondering if maybe part of the message here is that you function in that same way. There's a lot of energy that you push out there. And a lot of the things that ends up happening, the conflict that arises, is because these people feel entitled to you. That needs to be corrected. That needs to be corrected. What's yours is yours. And it needs to be made clear that what you are sharing actually belongs to you and you're just being generous with yourself. And much of your energy needs to go back to you at this point because you're being prepared to get back on a path that leads you to your destiny. So, no more allowing for like mad grabs for your attention and your energy. You need to be very conscious about what's happening. You will still get to that end zone. You will still get to that end point where your destiny is waiting for you. You're actually living your destiny every moment of your life, if we're really going to be honest here. But that end result, you will still have it no matter what. It's just, will you be tattered and battered by the time you arrive? Or will you be well rested and ready to handle the next part? For those who chose #2, that's the question placed before you. Those are the decisions you need to make. I don't know the fine details. Um, yeah, this card can denote a time to voyage inward and come to your own truth. There really isn't anyone who will have the tools to figure this out more so than you at this time. So now may not be the best time to take advice from others. See what I'm saying? Your inner knowing has it already. You just have to take the time to process the information to come to your own answers. So, going back to that sharing of my child when he was like 2 or 3 years old, after a while, I wouldn't have to whisper and tell him to just lay his head down for a few minutes. He would just lay his head down while standing. It was very common for him to sleep standing up. He would lay his head on the couch while standing, and I'd be like, "Are you okay? You feel okay?" And he's like, "Yes." And I would know, like, oh, okay. He's trying to figure himself out. And now, like, my kids don't have bedtimes. They don't have bedtimes at all. They don't have waking up times. They don't. It's this thing of what's your body tell you? So sometimes they'll be like, hey, I'm going to take a nap. My body feels tired. Go right ahead. There's times where they wake up hell early. I'm like, what you doing so early? My body's awake. Okay. Right? They're fully autonomous. They're fully autonomous. I think this is a time for you to become fully autonomous. Separate yourself from the paradigm that is society, these different parameters that you're forced to exist within because someone else felt like it was appropriate. No, you need to start deciding for yourself what is appropriate for you and what makes you the strongest version of yourself. I also have the Morphogenetic Fundamentals workshop. We still have a little bit of time for that. If you want to learn how to work energy the way I do, you want to learn the fundamentals, go take this workshop, click on the link or the QR code. I also have the Secure Spaces event. This is where we're removing all the anchors that were placed. I shared in a previous live stream, a recent one. It makes sense now why they were putting anchors. It was to anchor that entity that came in through the storm. And if you're ever curious about any of my events, any of my platforms, any of my services, academy, whatever it is, this link right here has all the information about me and what I do. So if you ever want to find something, this is where you go. It's my Hubi link. You can find everything there. All right, guys, I got to get going. Class is starting. I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye, everybody. Oh, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to like, share,